Hey folks, Robbie Payne with Chrome Unboxed, and today we're going to be unboxing Acer's latest Chromebook. It is the Chromebook 15. It is the one that is mostly aluminum, big 15.6-inch display, touchscreen, Intel Pentium, and 4200 chip, 32 gigs of internal storage, 4 gigs of RAM. So let's take a look, see what's in the box, and get some of the first impression stuff out of the way. And special thanks to Acer for getting us this thing to take a look at. And this one's boxed up just like most Acers are. Nothing new going on here. Some basic paperwork. We got a little bit more colorful stuff here with the how to get started kind of stuff, which is nice. Welcome. As we all know, Chromebooks are easy. They're quick to set up, but it's always nice for that kind of stuff to be in the box. Nothing surprising when it comes to this, except we do have USB-C charging. We're seeing that pretty much across the board in general. And it's nice to see because ultimately this charger, you can put it in your bag and you can carry it everywhere, and it can charge your phone, assuming your phone's USB-C charged, or any other device that's USB-C. And slowly but surely, we're finally starting to see USB-C become the standard that it was meant to. I'm gonna get all this stuff out because I'm probably gonna have to plug this guy in to get it to boot the first time, and then we're gonna get all this junk out of here. Slide these over. And, oh yeah, such an upgrade. Just right here, just looking at this, massive upgrade from the Acer 15 of last year. Technically, it's like 2 years ago, really. The Chromebook 15 has gone through multiple different stages. There's all sorts of different versions of it, and it's been hanging around as the same plastic model for a while. What's interesting about this one is we carve off quite a bit top to bottom, so the device is actually quite a bit thinner than it was the last go around, and it's almost a full pound lighter too. And I want to say it's 3/4 of an inch thinner, something like that. And the old one was just bulky and large, and from what I've seen online, this almost looks like a 15-inch version of the Chromebook 14 if you want a better frame of reference. But just first blush across here, I love this brushed aluminum look. They've got the nice metallic Acer logo on there and nothing else really going on. We'll kind of go around the sides here. We've got USB-C over here, a super speed, so 3.0 type A port, micro, SD card slot, and headphone microphone jack. And then additionally, we have another USB 3.0, another USB-C. So it's kind of the same layout we're seeing on a lot of Chromebooks right now. And then your Kensington lock. Across the bottom, now this is where we get into some plastic, where we were talking earlier. It's mostly aluminum, so the deck of the device and the top are aluminum, but this bottom portion is plastic. It's a nice soft touch plastic too, so that's kind of cool. The one thing that's a bummer a lot of times about plastic is sometimes it doesn't do as good at heat dissipation, but with the Pentium N4200, it's not a super high powered chip. I don't foresee us having any issues with heating at all. So we'll open it up and take a look. And again, yeah, lots and lots of stuff from the Acer 14. So a lot of the same feel. Hey, and it's going to boot without me having to plug it in. Fun times. So we'll get into logging in and all that kind of stuff in a minute. But I want to talk through some of the cool parts of the way this thing looks. So you've got the nice chiclet style keyboard. You've got these nice machined holes for the speakers, which is really cool. Upward firing speakers are always welcome. The Pixelbook and the Pixels before it, and a few other Chromebooks have had the Toshiba Chromebook 2 speakers that come through the keyboard, and that's hit or miss. Sometimes it's really awesome, sometimes it's not so great. When you have speaker grills and speakers in here, you've got some chambers to put the speakers. Hopefully they're going to sound pretty good. Usually if you've made space for them, that helps. And so you've got a nice chamfered edge around this here, little like shiny, glossy looking part. It just kind of adds a nice touch. And at $399, we haven't even said that yet. The device is $399. I mean, this is a big Chromebook with a lot of good stuff going on. 1080p display, touchscreen. It is not matte finish like the old one used to be because it's a touchscreen. We've seen some touchscreen matte finish devices. They're few and far between. Usually you get a bit of a glossy panel here. Nice large trackpad. Feels general Acer fare. This kind of feels like the Chromebook 14. You're going to hear me saying that a lot. but you get a backlit keyboard here. And we'll look at that here a little bit more in a second. But as we tilt it up, you can probably see some of that, that backlighting coming through. We obviously have all the big lights on, so it's hard to see those things. But overall, just looking at the device from this angle right here, really, really stunning looking Chromebook. That's, yeah, so the trackpad feels tight. I've heard a couple reports of a floppy trackpad. You know, this thing wouldn't be hard to take apart and kind of adjust that thing, but ultimately you shouldn't have to do that when you open up a brand new device. So if you do have one of those faulty trackpads, I would suggest going and exchanging that thing. So let me get logged in real quick here. All right, guys, we're all logged in now. Turn back around so you can kind of see it. Now, keep in mind, we're under some pretty severe studio lighting here, so hopefully we're not getting too much glare, but it's not the brightest display I've ever seen, but it's holding its own in here, and that's saying something. So we've had some Chromebooks under these lights that the display becomes so muted it's hard to get on camera, and so display is pretty good. Again, like I said, you've got touch, so all your touch elements work as you would expect. Let's go anything we can move here. So, and performance so far pretty good. Pinch to zoom works well. Oops, don't want that. As I was signing in, just initial thoughts on the keyboard, not bad. Acer, to me, a lot of times has keyboards that feel a bit mushy. I've heard reports of people saying this one feels too firm, and so maybe that means I like firmer keyboards, I guess. I don't know. But this one felt pretty good, and the fact that it's backlit, again, is just a really, really nice bonus. And the trackpad feels good, kind of like general Acer fare for trackpad. So it's not the smoothest thing in the world, but it picks up all your gestures and all the normal things quite well. Feels good. The click feels good. It's not wobbling around and all that kind of stuff. So again, when we start talking about sub $400 Chromebooks, these are kind of things we got to think about. Like, is it put together well enough that it's not going to irritate users? And so far, so good. Everything feels good. It looks good. Again, there's touches that we're always going to know with this one. It's not quite up to these super premium devices, but again, it's $400. So we want to run a couple quick things. So I am actually going to run the outdated benchmark of Octane, and I know a lot of you may say, "Oh, well, Octane's not a thing anymore, and it's not being updated anymore." Sure, it's not. Speedometer takes a while, and so we can do that maybe for the review because performance is a question mark on this thing. We haven't seen a Chromebook with the N4200 chip in it. So it's a Pentium, not the same Pentium that is in the Asus C302, which performed really, really well when we had it almost a year ago. So this is a different Pentium chip. It's more in the line of like the Apollo Lake kind of chips. And to be honest with you, I can't even begin to explain some of the nomenclatures and naming systems that Intel uses and what chips go with what. So these benchmarks actually help quite a bit when we run them. So we are going to run Octane real quick. Again, I know it's outdated, and hopefully my hope is a little bit that even though it's outdated, now we won't have any manufacturers actually attempting to make their devices work better for Octane, since now it's like, oh, well, you shouldn't use Octane. So, well, hopefully Octane actually becomes a little bit more relevant to what real world usage would be like. Again, speedometer is something we'll run at a different time. For right now, we're not going to do that. So while it's running, a couple last notes, because the last thing I want to do is just hear what these speakers sound like. Overall, I'm very pleased. It does have a lay flat screen. I don't really know what you do with that, but it does that. Maybe you lay it down and play a game or something like that. I don't know. It's different ones, different Chromebooks say different stuff about, saying that that's like a feature. I'm not sure what you do with that, but it does that. So there you go. We'll hear the speakers in just a second, but man, the keyboard feels pretty good, and the trackpad feels pretty good, and the overall aesthetic looks pretty good, and the screen looks pretty good. And so 11,257, that's not terrible, to be honest with you. Usually once we see stuff get around 12,000 to 13,000, we're in the realm of not really thinking about performance anymore. So we'll run more of those before the review, but in general, I'm hoping that turns into some real world performance. I'm not expecting to get like 25, 30 tabs and 10 different Android apps running and anything like that, but I bet we'll get some decent performance for day-to-day usage, where you have 5 or 6 tabs open, maybe a music player and running a video here and there, that kind of stuff, general usage things. It seems like it's actually going to perform really well. So last thing we're going to do, I'm just going to pull up YouTube real quick. Here we go. I'm just clicking on some no copyright music because we got in trouble for an old video about some copyrighted music that we played. So this is open source stuff. May or may not be able to pick up this really well, but it's got a little bit of thump to the bass, which is kind of neat. No idea what this is. Uh-oh. There's random people dancing on the screen. Let's fast forward a little bit, see what we get. There we go. That's actually really good. Maybe a little bit muddy in the mids, but again, $400 and these are laptop speakers. Yeah, probably the best Chromebook speakers I've heard. So yeah, that's a nice surprise, and you hope to hear that. The last year's model had upward firing speakers, and they were okay. These are really good sounding. I wish my Pixelbook had that much low end response to it, and I get it. Super slim laptops just don't make room for speakers. So this isn't the slimmest thing in the world, but it's also not the thickest thing in the world. So I mean, we look at this thing on axis here. I mean, it's relatively thin. You're not going to forget it's in your bag by any stretch of the imagination. It's a large Chromebook, but I think this could be, again, review pending, one of those really good Chromebooks that becomes a really easy recommend for a lot of people that don't want to spend Pixelbook price, but also don't want the super bargain device, and they're like, hey, I'll spend $400 on a device. Again, review pending. I don't want to say too much right now, but man, first blush. First sight on this thing, first hands-on, I'm pretty impressed. And so we'll give it a week or two, spend some time with it, pass it around the office, let some other people weigh in on it. And I know some people that have used the older version of this device pretty extensively, so it'll be cool to hand this to them and let them use it for a minute and see what they think about it. But guys, that's it for this unboxing. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button. I think it'll be right up here as well. And give us a thumbs up on the video. And make sure and stick around for upcoming videos that will just keep coming. Obviously we'll have the review, so be subscribed so if you're interested in this device, you're notified when the review comes out. But guys, until next time, we'll see you.